First few years of college, I threw every single day.
Of course you want to be a champion. Of course you want to be working towards winning titles.
Be happy, but never satisfied.
Better than ever.
It's day one of the 2023 Canadian High School Ultimate Championships, live from beautiful Ajax, Ontario. Theo Wan here, Andrew, bringing you the action. Got an exciting Pool B matchup between Le Coude in white out of Moncton, New Brunswick, and the North Albion Cougars in dark out of Toronto, Ontario. Before we start, just want to acknowledge that this broadcast is live from Ajax, located on the traditional territory of the Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and Anishinaabe peoples. I want to thank you for tuning into the stream, and Ultimate Canada is always looking to build a more diverse group of volunteers. If you're interested in commenting, manning the camera, or helping with general live stream duties, you can visit the Ultimate Canada website at CanadianUltimate.com. Now, looking at the game at hand, we got Le Coude starting on offense in the white jerseys. North Albion dark pulling left to right on your screen. And we're excited for what's to come here. And for a lot of these players, their first taste of live stream action. So pretty exciting for them and their folks at home for tuning in and getting to see some of them in action on the live stream. We're excited for that. Bringing in Andrew now. Andrew, what are you expecting to see in this matchup? The first game of Pool B for both teams.
Thank you, Theo. First of all, nice to be with you again. It's good to be back on the mic. Both of these teams, I think this is their first appearance here, and they're really going to dip their toe in the water and test themselves against some of our perennial national teams, right? We see some Manitoba teams. We see some Toronto teams. So Le Coude here in the white, they're receiving the disc. As you can see, they're from the Moncton area. It is a bit of an amalgamation of some schools, but it is so great to see some East representation here at this tournament. They really just want to test themselves and see where they fall in this tournament, right? And develop the game at home city, Moncton.
North Albion gets a block, and they're going to have a chance to get a break right away here. Balasubramaniam with the disc. Going to be a big-time key handler going to the open side. And the observer, Glenn Ford, ruling the disc not in. So play will continue. Looking for a reset, flipping it in, and just in and out of the hands, giving the disc back to Le Coude.
So I will say, Theo, it was nice to see big. Here we're talking about testing the waters, and they're going right for that win. I was about to say, Theo, on that goal line play where they weren't in on a call by the observer, these teams have not played with observers yet after speaking a little bit with them, and it was nice to see that North Albion continued right away. They went for the goal. They knew what the observer was signaling and continued to play through that call. So that's a good sign for them.
And you had mentioned, we had talked about this off air, Andrew, that for some of these players, a first time playing with observers. So get an opportunity to try this as they actually move up to club, and we have some club players sides that we'll highlight throughout the broadcast as well. So lots of exciting action here on day one. More streams to come, so make sure you tune in for a couple others as well.
So we should say for the people that are watching us right now, that throw, there is a very slight hint of wind. That was a bit of a downwind throw. So if you're watching, you know, you're looking at the screen. Great throw, but that is the direction of the wind for those of you watching. It is going from right to left as you view. And for those of you that have been in Ontario for the last couple of weeks when it's been raining,
yes,
very cold, I'm so thankful that these kids get to have these conditions to play their first high school championship, right? What a way to start the experience.
You couldn't ask for better weather, honestly, for all these teams involved. Balasubramaniam with the disc. Feathering it up the line. Finds Betty. Back to Balasubramaniam on this far side. Content to working up the open side here is North Albion. And continuing things forward for the score. A little open side action for the Cougars. But there is some discussion here, Andrew.
Yeah, I think some incidental contact away from the actual reception. Some good spirit there, too, from both sides.
CJ Gibbs, the lefty, throwing the assist there for the score. And it's tied 1-1.
So we see there, Albion earlier, we're talking about they wanted to play fundamentals. They're to just play the basics, play the fundamentals. We just saw that. They took what was available, they went up the open side, and goal, right? They didn't try anything that was overly difficult or force anything they didn't have to. And I think that's sort of what they're looking to do today from their offensive philosophy, is take what's available and use their basics and fundamentals to see where they are.
I think both teams are going to be kind of like a boxing match here, testing the waters, seeing what each team will bring offensively and defensively here. In white, as I mentioned, they're going to be on offense for male matching the field. Want to note for you, Andrew, that Balasubramanian playing her third straight point in a row. So we talked before of who the key players are, and she's one of them, and see her off the field for very much.
Again, the coach said Albion really wants to get the rock into the hands of the players. And there you have it, right? You just pointed out, this player's not going to come off the field. They're a key player, and they're going to drive this team.
Floaty disc in and out of the hands there. Not able to reel it in. Lapointe. Subramanian, the shooter, going deep. And Aber Kriegen, nice peel off for the ball. You're going to get credited with one right there. Peeling off the stack, doing a good job of identifying what's happening.
There was a nice undercut. It was going across the middle of the field. Might have been hit that undercut and continue to the end zone. But also have confidence in their defense. They feel like athletically they can keep up on person-to-person defense with any. So now we're going to get to see them.
Coude really moving with some pace. Feathering it forward. Brukowski, a speedster. Can't reel that one in, but expect to see her true up yards all over this Coude squad.
Difference in style here. Coude going a little deeper downfield, trying the distance shots a little more often, whereas North Albion is going shorter for the most part.
We'll reset there as they continue moving things to this close side with Balasubramanian. Touching this almost every other at this point. Big Hawk. Players in the area. Nice effort there, but can't come down with it is McCalla.
Yeah, as I just say, they play a bit shorter so far this game. They go for shot.
And the disc slapped away there is going to give possession back to the Coude, floating it out. And McCalla can't get there on the second effort.
Hanging slightly, going in that left to right direction as you watch. The last two have hung up and allowed the defenders to make that play.
Little front stack play, getting their teammate free there. Go looking long. Can he get that? Great effort from Austin Sanchez. He caught trying to get on the board once again. Plays a AAA hockey with Houston Flyers. So we got a dual sport athlete in the building or in the field right now.
That's great to see athlete development. We want those off-season dual sport athletes, right? It's going to help them develop and be even better ultimate players.
Want them to definitely have a few different sports. Balasubramanian dialing up the flick. It's going to hang up and coming down with it. McCalla going up large with the right hand. Resetting it back now. See if North Albion can be more calm in this red zone look. Balasubramanian swinging it to the far side. Settling into their stack, going inside and just sails a little bit higher wanted there. He's on there for this team, number 7 in dark. Aber Kriegen, their middle reset, number 4. Going to be a big time part of this handler set and has had the disc a lot in his hands. See what he can do here with the disc in the middle of the field. Nice little slash cut getting free. Lapointe. Sanchez, just a drop there. Looked like he had it, and then maybe a win playing a little tricks as well.
Right sideline. I think he looked down at his feet to make sure he was going to be in. Lost the hand. That'll be something that comes as you get older and play a bit more. You realize your hands first and then check the feet. If you don't catch it, the feet don't matter, right? Right, Theo? So now
got to make the catch first is what you're saying.
Yes. So now that we're back on North Albion's offensive possession here, we know trying to get the disc into the hands of their key player. What do you think on one taxi on that handler in the field? Give a reset, like a nice change of pace from the defense, right? Force North Albion to do something they play through other players.
You see that in other sports as well, Andrew, where teams will shooter, let's say in basketball, to kind of drive to the hoop or vice versa. You want to let the weaknesses of the other team get affected a little bit more here. Kajendran picking up, and last time around, very slow to pick up the disc. We'll see them. Valis asking for some orders here, trying to get isolation in the front of the stack. Juke in and out of the hands. Aber Cregan saving things.
Excellent second swipe to make sure it was definitely down.
Big backhand, gonna settle. Will that land in? That's gonna be key. It does. That's actually an important thing to note because otherwise short field to work with. And you're gonna see fatigue playing a little bit of a role here. These athletes are pretty well conditioned. But
they are.
The heat's gonna pick up, and these points could become longer. So make sure the nutrition's in check as well. Going down the line with the huck, smacked away. Cregan cleans it up here.
Yeah, it's a good point, Theo. We're also seeing this has been a pretty long point for the group that's on the field currently, right? We might actually see the superstar take a sub for the first time after the ending point.
La Pointe now finds Sanchez, open side cut. No timeout's been used on this point. Aber Cregan, nice fake. Flipping it over. Finding Roach, a spirit captain team for the score. Aber Cregan to Roach, and that was a long one. Like, Coude, you're feeling okay. It was a long one.
Scoring the goal always puts a little wind in the sails, right?
Yes.
That'll pump you up a little bit. At least you get the reward for the hard work.
Many turnovers, feeling a little bit better. North Albion, we'll see who they trot out to the line here. You mentioned some of the star players being a little bit tired, so it might be a fresh line. It does look like that right now.
Yeah, Coach Minczynski for North Albion. Let's see if he actually starts to change his lineup a little bit. Taking a look at who's heading to the line. We just want to make sure we're going to see if. No, it again is true to his word. Wants to get the rock into the key plans. It'll be interesting to see as well if Coude does make that defensive adjustment. If they can deny the rock going to Bella Subramania, that's going to really slow down North Albion's offensive game. So we'll see if that actually takes place in the next point or two. It's pretty apparent what North Albion's goal is on offense.
Deep shots, and some of it was been successful, but going left to right on the screen at least, there's been some discs, and I think if you can clean that up, you're feeling a little bit better.
For sure. And again, if you can start spreading the disc to more than Bella Supermania, if you can start getting all your players involved, it's just going to spread the defense out that much more.
As we say, a big hug going up. CJ has the hands.
Made an awesome cut. He was untested end zone, 3 or 4 yards clear of.
Betty couldn't believe it either. The Toro player with that very beautiful backhand huck there. But it bounces in and out of the hands. Gibbs a speed receiver for the Albion squad. You know he's in the deep space. Going to be making some plays. Max down the disc, giving them a short field to work with. Instead of the commentator's curse, more of a commentator's blessing there for Gibbs and the North Albion squad.
Theo, giving yourself some credit, right? That's your D? Is that what you're saying?
No, that's a sideline D for sure. Betty. In front of the little flick fakes. Now looking reset. A little give and go. And it is. Nice little give and go there. Ravi Jantran and Betty working well to get the hold. So it's been offensive scores. Game, Andrew.
Yeah, we're at deuces. This looks like it's going to be a pretty good back and forth even matchup. this is a 15 seed versus a, so on paper we thought a little bit not quite this close, but again with teams that we don't know and haven't been here, this is nice. This is a good first matchup. They can test each other and test themselves and see what they're made of.
This tournament hasn't been since what year, Andrew? Let's see. Is you right on the air here? 2019. I'm going to give you the answer. 2019.
2019.
Okay?
Thank you.
So a lot of these players, having not played in this tournament, or some of these you mentioned not played at all, experience. So trying to seed a tournament like this can be difficult. You know your names. You got Calvin behind us, Marshall McLuhan. You got St. John Ravenswood. A lot of big name teams out there. But then you got the sleeping giants, I'm going to call them. Teams that the Ultimate community might not know about. They're going to sneak up on you, and they're going to be some teams to watch out for in the future. So thank you for tuning in. Future of Ultimate right now.
And especially for a team like Coude, they're going to go home and they're going to get some publicity, some press, some results to stand on and grow.
Big hand. Just denying the disc. Ojig Belly couldn't even believe that she got the hand block there. Looked a little shocked.
I tell you, Theo, I was looking at you, I was speaking, I could hear that through my earphones. Solid hand block.
Hey, you're going far side, but it gets smacked away.
Beautiful run through D.
Beliveau making the play. No Creek and Bear on this point. Roche got to do some lifting and nice grab for the score. The bookends got to be feeling good. Stefan Beliveau.
You know, Theo, it's just like we said. They're going to play well. People are going to see this at home back in Moncton and Dieppe, Moncton area. And they're going to have people probably wanting to play next year. They're going to want to make this out here. That's how you grow the game. You know, I'm happy from to see the East Coast representation to grow the game and make this a more competitive tournament in the future. So they won't be sleeping giants for long.
And with their coach, Andrew Cregan, listeners of Canadian music in the audience, Andrew, there's something special about Andrew, correct?
Well, most Andrews are special, but this Andrew has a little more special. Bare Naked Ladies might ring a bell. You know, the people around the fields here may be a little young to know exactly.
I was going to say, maybe some of the parents in the audience though would know. Love in a Dangerous Time, that's a song, right?
Yeah.
If I had $1 million too, I think.
I don't know, age $1 million doesn't get you, does it?
You need like $5 million.
But yeah, we have a celebrity on the sidelines today and actually giving back and coaching the team and bringing these kids where they need to be from a field point of view. So we should make sure we get a picture with the coach before we leave the tournament.
So we know that we were with a Canadian celebrity. That is true. That is a true point here.
I thought he wanted a picture with you. You're the Canadian celebrity, aren't you, Theo?
Oh, I appreciate that, Andrew. But he is he's done a lot more here. But we're going to get back into the action. North Albion with the disc. Betty picking up, playing with Toro. And for those that know, Toro has been a very strong juniors program, produced a lot of stars. May have heard of someone named Britt DeSantos, for example, having played for Toro, playing for this Marshall McLuhan squad that's actually behind us here, coached by Gareth Colley.
Yeah, I will say Gareth before the game was just saying how he coached her and made her who she is, and I don't know if I'm going to believe that, but he certainly did coach her in the early days.
Fardes scooped up. Nice grab there to keep things alive. Coude coming on to zone, so I like the little mix-up here. 3 female matching players around the disc, causing a lot of havoc on the mark. Great play from DeRoche there. Just active hands all over the field right now. Betty going to dial up a backhand. Gibbs going to let it settle into the hands. Smart move by CJ Gibbs. Thought about jumping early, instead waits out the disc for the score. And it's another smooth hold here, Andrew.
Yeah, 2 thoughts on that one. One, we talked about, is there going to be a defensive adjustment? You know, I suggested a taxi, but a zone works as well. Something to change what Albion is seeing. They were clearly going through the defense earlier on. Secondly, what a read on that receiver. Got his body in there, boxed out a little bit, waited for that wind to carry it over the fence. Nice catch.
In your first appearance at the Canadian High School Ultimate Championships, and you make a play like that, CJ Gibbs, you got to be feeling good. He is a player to watch for this team. And you've seen their game plan. I don't think it's a secret now, Andrew. It's shoot it deep.
Yeah. I was just thinking, players aren't lacking for confidence, even though it's their first time on a championship stage here at the national level. This is fantastic to see. The players aren't holstering, they're going for it, and they're playing with some vim and vigor.
Vim and vigor, I like that, Andrew. I did not know you were going to come up with that, so that's good. That brightens up my day here. Le Coude on offense, 4 male matching players on the field. You got the ratio, maybe a chance to explain that to the audience.
I was just going to say, we should talk about that while we have a chance, obviously. With mixed play, you're looking at the ABBA rule, ABBA, as you rotate through. We started, I believe, with 4 ladies this game. So we're doing 4 ladies, and it's 4 men, 4 ladies. We also have gender pull is in effect here as well. So whatever gender has the 4-player ratio is the gender that pulls the disc as well. So this is great at this level. Kids are learning this as they come up through, and by the time they get to adult mixed divisions, they're fully versed in the rules and ready to go.
Fenton Porter wearing the double zeros gets the block. And it's another break opportunity with Balasubramaniam calling the shots, looking deep already, pointing and delivering. Great job coming under was Nelson. Back to Balasubramaniam. Still directing traffic here. Love the handlers that just do that. Pointing, saying, go this way, and I'm going to make the throw there. Nice little 7 cut.
On number 7, defending, Gaudreau.
Less than 10 yards away from a break here. Balasubramaniam going open side. And Nelson with the catch. I thought it might have hit the field. But Nelson coming down with the score. And North Albion gets the break.
I would have bet dollars to donuts. My eyes said that, and she caught it on the bounce. There's an observer there, 2 yards away. I'm not gonna go against Mr. Ford, our observer, but grab.
That is a break game, and this is where we're gonna see Andrew Cregan, this coaching staff, how they respond to some of the slight adversity. Just one break, but you want to see how they adjust, right?
Yes, and I do want to say, Theo, so we talked about the defensive change. We saw the zone earlier, but Le Coude put the zone on while Albion was going downwind. They were just playing upwind, and they did not play zone. They went back to person-to-person defense when they had a little bit of wind advantage and probably could have tried the zone again. I mean, it took a fantastic catch to get that goal, but now it makes me think, should they have left the zone on maybe one more chance and tried to slow down the handler?
Hard on a defensive or offensive point there to set the zone. I think that was maybe something that they were trying to figure out. But I look on the field here and I see a lot of the same offensive players for Le Coude. Brudkowski, Hébert Cregan, Sanchez. There's a few more out there. So similar players. Roach as well has thrown an assist, caught a goal already for this Le Coude squad. And we mentioned a conglomeration of schools there. And so that's why they're Le Coude, an apt name. Roach going down the line. And that disc just going to fall into the turf here, giving North Albion another break opportunity. And they were able to take advantage of it without a turnover. Last point, can they do it again here?
So you talk about the amalgamation of schools, and Le Coude, that's actually the name of the region where they're from, and it's means the elbow, roughly as a translation, because of the elbow in the river around Moncton. So because they don't have one specific school to represent, beautiful way to come up with a name for your agglomeration.
You thought you were tuning into an ultimate stream, but you're also tuning into a Canadian geography one as well. So Andrew, thank you for, I know you're not a history teacher, but thank you for bringing some of that information for the audience. Love that.
I do have a degree in geography, so I have to contribute something here on the geographic front.
Little give and go action. Backhand is going to fall right into Sanchez's hands. Hébert Cregan, you know he wants a disc in his hands. Holstering it for now. And now disc in the middle of the field.
It was a well-disciplined holster. There was a wide-open deep strike, but the wind this way has not been friendly.
Roach helping with the give and go. Lapointe, that is fading to the left, but finds his target in Brudkowski. There was a turnover each side, but Le Coude gets the hold.
Yeah, you spoke about, let's see how they handle the adversity, going down a break. Okay, not bad. They didn't fold. There it is. Clearly it didn't faze them having that being down a break, right? Go and do what you need to do. Take care of business.
They did start on offense to begin this game. Lapointe finding his target in Brudkowski. They both played on High Tide Wheaties. You heard that right, that's a team. So High Tide, a club team out of that New Brunswick area, partnered up with a team out of Saskatchewan as well to create a team last year. So now what I've been told is High Tide going to send their own team this year to Surrey for the junior championships in August, and that's just going to really lead to more development in the area for these high-level athletes.
Well, and you speak about development, the whole reason why the merge with a Prairie team and an East team is to develop. We want athletes to have that exposure, and it worked. Now they have their own team after one season, right? That's the whole reason Ultimate Canada likes to do these things, and now hopefully we can have New Brunswick sending teams every year. And also High Tide on the geography front. What a name for a team from Moncton, Greater Moncton area.
Yeah, this geography, we love the diversity of the streams. We're going to have other teams from various areas of Canada playing, so that is exciting stuff. Zone look going the other direction now, Andrew. So we had talked about maybe they wouldn't do that, but I think they're going to do that because they're on defense. This is going to go up and knocked away. Great tall, deep defender there in Richard. Now countering back on defense. What a throw, but it just in and out of the hands.
Both teams having a little trouble catching in that one end zone.
Yeah, Sion Elias with the shot, and maybe there's some wind factor in there as well there that we don't know about.
Swirly wind down there. That's two we've seen at that end. And zone again, both directions, playing zone. I personally like that. I like teams playing zone. I think it gives a good change for an offensive line to see zone. The wind has picked up marginally.
Balasubramanian going deep. Is this one going to settle? It does. See if it's ruled in. It is. Balasubramanian dialing up a great backhand huck down the line for the score and the hold for the Cougars.
So perhaps I'm the commentator curse saying I like this zone play. I like seeing zone again, and that was, what, 2 passes and goal over the zone? I know. Maybe I shouldn't say anything anymore.
It worked out for North Albion. That throw really settled in to the receiver's hands.
Believe we have a timeout called. I should probably brush up a little bit on my hand signals. Clearly the teams are coming together. It's a timeout, but my observer hand signals I should brush up a little bit.
With that timeout, we're going to take a break as well and be right back. You're watching day 1 action from the 2023 Canadian High School Ultimate Championships. Le Coude out of Moncton, New Brunswick, taking on the North Albion Cougars out of Toronto, Ontario in dark. These teams have been evenly matched so far. It's 5-4 the scoreline here. Theo Wong here with Andrew Portwine. One break is the only separator right now. It's been close. What are your observations? I just gave mine, so tell us yours.
That was your observations, eh? One break?
One break.
My observations are I like to see Le Coude has actually thrown a few different defenses at Albion to try and slow them down. We just saw before the break that it didn't work. There was a nice deep play over the zone. So Albion, I like to see from their offensive line. They've adjusted to both defenses and continued humming along just fine on offense. Here we go. Le Coude receiving the disc, and they center it nicely. Good fundamental offense.
Roach has been doing a lot for this Coude team with Abair Cregan going up the line. Throw a little bit behind his intended target, and Roach going to give the disc to North Albion, and Balasubramaniam crossing over here, and that throw doesn't find a receiver. Believe was looking for a teammate. I could see one in the area, but a little bit further than I think she may have hoped. But there is a foul call.
It's good. We can see the observers are discussing back in the backfield. You won't see them now. We're looking at the end zone while we hold and wait.
We've talked a lot about Glenn Ford. He's getting a lot of the shine right now as the observer, but there's another one out there in Team Orange, and that's Justin Lee, your observers for this game. If you're tuning into Ultimate for the first time, you may notice they're on the field. They're not refs, though, so I think that's a big thing to understand. They're not refs. They're not going to make certain active calls like a foul. They're going to have players discuss it first, and then players can come to an observer, which can then tell their opinion. Big smackdown block by Brutkowski.
Yeah, nice run through D on that. Nice short field, too. Easy chance here to punch it in.
Roach going up the line for Abair Cregan. Avoids Benny, the poaching defender. Athletic move and safe move as well. I was going to note both of those things.
Exactly. Took that right out of my mouth. That was excellent body control to actually save a defender, you know, who was making a bid and a good play on the disc, but that could have ended a lot worse than it did. Excellent body control. And a goal. And a goal.
It's 5-all. That's true.
Yeah, there you go. This is really has been back and forth. I think earlier in the game you said it's like a heavyweight boxing match, just back and forth, slugging it out. What I like about this is we have, as we said earlier, we have a 7 seed and a 15 seed. If they're playing this tight of a game with a mid seed and a lower seed out of the 16 teams, we can expect hopefully a lot of close games this tournament, because seeding, you know, obviously all teams are fairly closely matched. We have a couple perennial strong teams here in Calvin and SJR that we'll expect will be a little stronger, but when 7 and 15 are this evenly matched, it should make for a great tournament.
Big pull coming up for Coude as North Albion on offense. Is that pull going to land in? It is. So this stack might have to move up here. Oh, excuse me. I stand corrected. It landed out of bounds. So Balasubramaniam walking into the front end zone line here. Zone look once again from Coude.
Yeah, I think it was a 2-pass point the last time they kind of set zone going in this direction. Let's see if they can iron out the kinks and hold them a little longer.
Interesting as well, the way they set it up. They do it with the 4-3 ratio with more male matching players who are all downfield, and it's going to result in a block for Abair Cregan. The other Abair Cregan, this one, Oscar.
Yeah, there's a whole contingent of them here today, and that was a big target in the middle of the field. I'm not sure if the handler didn't see, but that's a pretty big defender to miss in the middle of the field.
Elias maybe going a little too quick there.
Yeah, Coude with a quick turnover. Oh, just out of the reach on the swing pass, off the palm of the hand. So Coude right at the front of the zone.
And it's going to work out, and that, we got to celebrate that a little bit more, because that is a break for Coude, a little celebration as well from Elias, excuse me, and a little spike at the end for some celebration.
I know you like the spikes.
Duclos Fortin, one of the captains, throwing the assist there.
So we're all square, right?
That is correct. That is a break for
We're back
Coude.
on, so this game has been fantastic. You know, earlier you welcomed us back and you said the action in this game has been great. The key word, that action has been fantastic. Theo, I see you're scouting out behind us while we have a break. We have a score update for the field behind us?
That is correct. The Kelvin Clippers up 5-2 on the Marshall McLuhan Rebels. Kelvin, we have talked about a little bit now. And they are, you know, I'm not going to give all my predictions out on the broadcast here, Andrew, but I suspect to see them in the bracket and beyond is all I'm going to say.
Final Four is probably a safe pick.
I don't think that's a sleeper pick here, having them win multiple titles most recently, and obviously with COVID not having a tournament, but they are your defending champions. So you kind of got to bet on the defending champs, no?
I was just going to say, you were quizzing me earlier about the year of the last event. I know who won the last event. I just couldn't remember the year with a little COVID brain going on, but Calvin's a pretty distinct team and, you know, pretty distinct logo. They stand out. Back to our action here. We're a little score update, but let's get back to the back and forth here.
6-5 the scoreline here. I like that the scoreboard is out there for us. A huge
wow
layout block, a clap catch layout block. You don't see that every day. Picks it up. finds his teammate there, Aber Cregan. Aber Cregan throws it for the score. And I like the quick punch defensive offense from Coude.
Theo, you said it. A full-on layout clap catch. I don't know if I've seen one of those in probably 7, 8, 9 years. People go that horizontal, they're full stretch with one arm to just tip it away, not trying to actually catch the disc with two hands. And again, nice catch in the end zone, like almost laissez-faire, easy cut, one-handed catch in the end zone. Good play all around.
I believe that was Duclos Fortin with the score. It looks like there is a timeout called. I'm just going to put a bet in and think that it's going to be North Albion down 7-5 here. A couple of breaks going the other direction. So we're going to take a quick one as well and be right back. We're actually right back on the stream. Games are to 13 for this tournament. Got a little COVID brain, you know, thinking games are at 15. It's actually 13 for this tournament, so it is actually halftime. Coude up 7-5. Second half action coming at you from the 2023 Canadian High School Ultimate Championship. Pool B action between the number 7 seeded North Albion Cougars out of Toronto and the number 15 seed Coude out of Moncton, New Brunswick. Theo Wan here with Andrew Portwine. Scoreline 7-5 for Le Coude. They went on a 3-point run to take this lead, got a hold, and then 2 straight breaks into half. What does North Albion need to do to get back in this game, Andrew?
Thank you, Theo. Yeah, North Albion, I think that zone threw them off a little bit. The first 1 or 2 points, they handled it well, and I think there were some adjustments made, and they didn't handle it as well going in. They hit their first patch of adversity going into the half, settle it down, fundamentals, swing the disc, get the rock in the hands of the superstars, because we've seen they're capable.
Speaking of superstars, this throw going to go up and right into the breadbasket of Ahmed. Ahmed looking back, and Balasubramaniam can't reel that one in. Looks a bit shaky there and had a receiver going up the line, but instead went for the reset. It's going to go work out in Le Coude's favor right now on the defensive line. Up the line. And great effort from a few Le Coude players crashing in. You like to see the effort, though, the hustle.
I do, and I'd like to see them space the field a little better on that first pass from the handler here in front of the camera. There were 2 people cutting to the same space.
And a little battle in the air is going to keep the disc with Le Coude here on
just to finish that thought,
defense.
There were 2 people cutting to the same space, and it almost brought a poach defender in. So Le Coude needs to be aware of their spacing a little more as they're on offense here.
Duclos Fortin been part of the score sheet multiple times for this side. That disc going to be ruled out of bounds. Arsenault, Alec Arsenault, stepping out of bounds. Not to be confused with another famous Alec Arsenault, which we'll talk about. We've talked about some of their alumni for this team. Martin Gallant as well. So this Alec Arsenault, same name, different person. Balasubramaniam also ruled out of bounds. And not to be outdone, I mean, North Albion has a coach that has done a lot in the game, Cindy Trong, playing for the Sixers, has played for Team Canada. So having experience on both sides within the program, either coaching or alumni, that's really going to help you.
Yeah, seeing these players come back and continue to coach and give back to the schools, it contributes so much to development and so much to these schools. And, you know, you get someone like Cindy, if she can go work one-on-one and build 1 or 2 players into these superstars as we speak here.
Ahmed going for the deep shot again. He's reeled in 1 already. Let's see if he can deliver the disc. Looking back for a handler, finds Balasubramaniam, who threw him the disc earlier. Pointing for a teammate to get out of that space. Going cross field. Batted. And Ahmed, good effort, but that disc going to sail into the turf.
That downfield shot from Subramaniam, you see the hook on that to keep it just into the sideline. It was her receivers or no one's. There wasn't going to be a D, but she put that perfectly down the field.
Le Coude going to call the first timeout of the half. I'm going to dial into your coaching senses. You like that timeout call there? It's only the first point of the half. You know there's still going to be some more game to go here.
You know, I probably wouldn't have called it. It is back and forth, and I can see maybe they want to rest some of their players, but they've been holding. They haven't really been threatened down the field too much. As much as there has been a deep strike hit, there hasn't been any follow-up play from that. So, I don't know. I probably would have let the team play through it a little bit. You've also got a bit of a cushion on the scoreboard, a couple of breaks. So, I'm pretty sure just keep playing through that as best I can, unless you see key players are really dogged on the field. But it didn't look like that to me.
We're going to talk through this timeout as well. Give some love to people watching in the audience. So I know North Albion, you're out here from Toronto making a shorter drive, but for Le Coude out of Moncton, New Brunswick, they got to fly out. We got some parents out here. I've seen it. Okay, there's some good representation, but also some people back home that maybe couldn't make the trip.
Sure, and you shouldn't say some parents, first of all. You've got a good side.
Yeah, that's
coming
true.
In from New Brunswick.
You're right.
There's some support. But Julie Fortin, I'm told that she is the team manager that organized this and got everyone together and just can't be here. So we got to give some love out to Julie Fortin, who really pulled this together and helped this team come together and get here.
There's a lot of unsung heroes. You don't see them on the field. There might be the administration or even athletic directors within the school. So want to thank all of them for helping contribute to the development of Youth Ultimate, and for you folks tuning into the stream, because you are watching a lot of the future junior club players, potentially Team Canada players as well, and adult club players. So keep tuning into the stream all weekend as Le Coude working against a zone look.
There we go.
Something I haven't seen right now from North Albion generates a turnover.
I was getting excited. I'm trying to poke you to say, look what they're doing. As a coach, this warms my heart. Use the wind. Throw a different look at them. They're right on the goal line. Let's trap them and get a short field. Excellent job from the observer to help the player. You can see the beanbag, which players may not be used to seeing, to know that's where the disc went out.
Big flick going up, looking for Nelson. And Nelson, good run, but just a little too far out of her reach. Nelson already has a goal today from Ballasubramaniam, trying to get another one on the board.
Yeah, they're going right for it. I mean, like I said, they had a shorter field. They were ready to go. They're looking for that quick strike to get that scoreboard closed down. That gap is like probably not sitting well with them.
But that's the thing, though. You see the score gap, but you know it's only – there are no 2 or 3 pointers out here, Andrew. So you got to make sure you just dial in that 1 point at a time. And you've seen how breaks can come in bunches like we saw for Le Coude. Moving with some pace here. Duclos Fortin gets a reset over to Hébert Cregan. Hébert Cregan has a couple people poached. Going to dial up the large hammer. And a grab for the score. So Le Coude gets the break out of half. The timeout works in their favor. And they're up 8-5.
So coaching words on the timeout on
yes,
that one, perhaps.
You do.
Now, what can I ask you about throwing that hammer cross field into the wind? What's your thoughts on that one, Theo, as a coach or as a player?
I mean, you love the moxie. You're on defensive line. You got to just let the handlers see what happens, because you're on defensive line. You're technically not supposed to score, right? Offense has the advantage in ultimate, as we know. So I like the idea here, and they're creeping their way towards what we call an upset because of the seeding. I know both teams, they were a little tentative in the beginning. They're really opening up the shots now, and it's looking really good. But for Le Coude, they got to keep the pressure on. And North Albion, what do they need to do right now?
I like that they threw a different look on defense. They threw a zone. It generated the turnover. Again, they couldn't punch it in, and another point was up for Le Coude. But it got what they wanted. It got the turnover, gave them the opportunity. So I decided to say throw that zone on again and maybe be more patient on offense. We keep seeing a lot of the big strikes and quick shots to the end zone. Look for those 10 or 15-yard crossing cuts around the middle. Get some nice in cuts and continuations.
We had talked about that. This was one of their game plans, but now we're seeing how a lot of teams, it's kind of like, I'm going to use other sport analogies here. In basketball, you live by the 3, you die by the 3. It's kind of like you live by the deep shot right now, and you potentially die by it with a lot of turnovers, and maybe the other team's a little bit more patient. Betty out here taking an offensive point, and it's going to go right into the hands of Gautreau. So now Le Coude trying to get a 5th straight point, and Sanchez does just that, finding his target. Cormier, Britt, and Le Coude is rolling right now with their defensive line.
And Le Coude just executed what I was suggesting that Albion might do, right? They swung with the wide swing to reverse the field and a nice easy shot into the end zone. And it wasn't even a deep shot to the end zone. It's a nice easy continuation to the end zone. You know, if Albion can sort of learn from what they just saw and do that on offense, North Albion, apologies to the school. But that's it, right? Fundamental, get the swing and go for those little 15-yard up the line and then reset if you have to. Get back to fundamentals. The coach said that they wanted to work on fundamentals and play that way, and we've seen once they went down by about 2 points, the deep shots came out every possession basically, right? They kind of got away from their game plan that kept them tied for the first batch of the game, even up a break for quite a while.
And sometimes what happens is you're up, then you go down, and the panic, I don't see it on their faces totally, but the panic can start to set in where, oh no, like we were up and now we're down by 4 goals. It's like, what do we need to do to get back in? Oh, let's just shoot it deep, but trying to get it back in bunches, you can't do that in ultimate as it's 1 point at a time. So they got to dial in on this point specifically. I want to see them activate CJ Gibbs a little bit more in the deep space if they decide to go for a deep shot, because he was been pretty vital there. Or for Gibbs, you can fake the big deep and come under and chew up a lot of yards as well.
For sure, and that's one of those things. We need to get more players for North Albion touching the disc, essentially. I know it's great to have the stars with the rock, but 2 players can't win a game all the time, right?
We'll give it a go. Ballasubramaniam, far side. Looking person defense here from Le Coude. Has Kajendran as the dump, but that throw is going to blade into the turf.
I'd like to give credit to is that number 71. 71, Duclos Fortin. What a mark on the reset handler. Like, shut that down completely so North Albion had no outlet.
Duclos Fortin feathering up the field. And finds a target. That's Nolan. Claire Nolan getting a score. And this break train has no signs of stopping right now for Le Coude.
So for Le Coude, who's seated 15th coming in, they're sure showing that seating isn't indicative of their play. They're putting the throttle down on this game in the second half.
They're trying to break some hearts out here, taking down some championship aspirations from other teams, and they're showing that right now with how they're playing. Josie Hebert throwing that assist for Le Coude, and they're getting contributions from across the board. I think that's something to highlight for Le Coude. You've seen Hebert Cregan Oscar, the other Hebert Cregan, getting involved, number 37, Duclos Fortin. They've gone, Sanchez has been involved as well, Leo Hebert Cregan. So they're getting a mix across the board, whereas North Albion a little more concentrated in terms of where their production is coming from.
For sure, and we saw it on the last play. The slight variation on the defense for Le Coude was they pushed both of the reset handlers, both of the off handlers in the backfield were being marked closely. Previously in the game, Le Coude had let them have a free reset and go into the backfield with easy resets if they wanted it. They weren't taking them. This time it was challenged in the backfield. It turned into that turnover because they just didn't allow a reset.
4 female matching players means a female matching player pulling. And that's what's going to happen here is Le Coude going right to left on your screen if you're just joining us. Up 10-5, scoring, I'm going to count it 6 points in a row, 1 offensive point, and then it's been break for this team in white.
Nice pull, by the way. It got past the North Albion player, so they actually had to backtrack and waste a bit of time to get their offense started.
Yeah, I know they probably adjusted themselves thinking it might be a shorter pull, but you can't do that. You got to just stay on the line and let it happen. Shot going up. Nice grab there. McCalla has been on the scoreboard once, throwing an assist earlier for North Albion's actual first goal. Betty now threading it through. This is where you want to see them be a little bit more chilly. This one going to pop up, and it's going to be scooped up there. Burns, a spirit captain, one of for this Le Coude squad. And that throw that's wind right there, Andrew. That's just wind.
Died. Can I say, did you hear? We could hear it through our headsets. The communication in the Le Coude defense, their deeps were calling melt early as North Albion crossed half, and it resulted in a turnover. Great communication from the zone to get into person-to-person defense.
And you know, if they're doing that, it's got to be because they're well coached. That there's no other way to explain that. Players learning how to transition quickly from zone to match defense. That's a skill that you're going to have to learn in elite club and junior club and all those things. So they're going to take those experiences and continue to build on it. We talked about Marty Gallant as one of the players that have come out of this program as a shot going up here. In and out of the left hand. Iliash trying to make the play, and just want to continue my point there about some of their alumni, Martin Gallant being one of them, playing for Team Canada, Alec Arsenault as well. So you know that Moncton producing some big-time players for this country, and with this program and the high tide one as well, it's really going to pay dividends for the East Coast, I'll say. East of the country there.
Yeah, I will say, Theo, I mean, you know, but many people don't know, I did move out to the East Coast for a brief foray, and actually seeing the players and the talent that are in the Eastern provinces and the Atlantic provinces, there are some very good talent out there, and I don't think they get enough knowledge and acknowledgement nationally, and we're getting to see some of that here, and we're talking about some of the graduates of this program that have represented our country. They're fantastic players. So, but this is where it all starts. You know, so it's just going to grow. We're going to get better talent coming out of the East, partially with these experiences and partially with giving back through alumni.
Good idea there from North Albion. I like that look. Well, people kind of poaching off an open receiver, but that throw just dying down. The wind is a slight factor, I would say, especially with throwers who, you know, they put in the reps, but sometimes a certain wind can throw a little tricks on the game here Iliash spinning around on the doorstep of break, going hammer time. And two hands smack down for North Albion. Going deep right away, and
could see the wrist turn over on that. Once that side of that disc gets up, the wind grabbed that right away.
Raman Chandran has been trying to provide a spark from the handler space, but right now it's just not working out. They might want to try to work it down the field. Little IO shot inside out, and it's going to be caught for the score. Nice throw there from Burns.
Excellent shot. We just talked about the North Albion player turning the wrist and getting that side up to the wind. You could see the IO on that throw. Wonderful, wonderful throw.
Mia DeRoche coming down with the goal. Been told she was chosen to play football for Northumbria University in Newcastle, England. So we talked about a Moncton AAA hockey player. Now we got some, we're going to call it football for those fans at home.
I was going to say, I like football, I call it football, but for everybody watching, we're not talking like the pads and helmets like NFL. We're talking real football. Play with your feet.
Yeah.
And hey, football players have great field awareness. They translate to ultimate very well just because of their field awareness, and they understand moving on fields, right? Find open space.
We've talked about this with different teams already. You're going to get some people with the ultimate experience, and then you're just going to recruit some track athletes and people like that can fill out your squad and can make some athletic plays. So right now, North Albion down 11-5. Game is to 13, as we mentioned before at half. Hard cap at 75 minutes.
I was going to say, we should mention there is a 75 time limit. So if North Albion comes back, I mean, they're starting to have to worry about the clock as well as their opponent.
Yeah, about 20 minutes from my watch here. So 20 minutes, still plenty of time. But if you're the coaching staff here, if you're Marty Munchinsky, one of the teachers at the school, who also is a coach, you got to just drill in 1 point at a time. We can't get it all back in more than one. Up the line shot, looking for Kagendran, but it will settle into the grass here. A beautiful complex out in Ajax, the site of the Canadian High School Ultimate Championships. Its return, as we mentioned, from 2019. Didn't happen last year. Teams have to apply to get into this tournament. So I've been told 21 teams applied, 16 got in. Continuing things forward. And that's some pretty offense from Coude on their defensive line. Cormier Britt finds herself on the score sheet. And Brudkowski throwing the assist. So like I mentioned before, get contributions everywhere. Love the female matching connection as well. And the defensive line offense has been working really fast and really putting North Albion on their heels.
Yeah, and I think they gained some confidence in the second half, maybe right before the half as they converted a couple. But we saw a big hammer into the wind earlier. We've seen some good key throws, and like you said, they're moving fast, but I think they've got that confidence in the last handful of points. It's a good looking team, good solid team. They spread it around. Everybody gets to touch the disc. Everybody's contributing. It's a nice team. They're well coached, disciplined.
They're going to have some big pool play matchups against Kelvin Clippers and the Marshall McLuhan Rebels, who are on the field behind us, who are also in the pool. So we got Pool B action coming for you. Got another game for you as well. So we're going to give you details on that in a bit. But right now, turning ourselves back on to this broadcast, 12-5, the score here for Le Coude in white.
We're getting an update from the field behind us.
8-2 the score, it looks like, for the Clippers of Calvin from Winnipeg.
Not to deviate from the game in front of us, but that tells you how strong Calvin is. Marshall has been a perennial attendee at this tournament and typically does well. Finishes in the top half, I would think, and they're getting manhandled right now by Calvin. So that just shows the quality of some of these teams here.
Some discussion of, with the poll here, Justin Lee, the observer. You might notice this, if you can see it, that the observers are actually mic'd up, so they're able to communicate with each other from a long distance, which is nice. Doesn't mean you don't have to shout on the field, right? You can communicate through the microphones. That's always a good ad there for them.
We should give a little love to our observers as well. They've been doing well with a couple extra hand points or a couple extra instructions because they know these players haven't played with observers and aren't used to the calls or what the gestures mean in totality. So they've been really helpful to these players this game. It's been very, very good.
So we're getting some insight into some observer discussion. Looks like there was a contested drop on the pole, and it looks like it will be a re-pull out here for Abair Cregan and this Coude squad. Looks like, Andrew, a lot of their offensive line is actually on defense. So if you're the coach, Andrew Cregan, you're going to say, hey, we want to get our offensive line some reps, and we don't want them to be cold for the next game because they got another one coming up.
For sure, and the D has been playing so well, which is great. Great problem to have as a coach, isn't it?
A deep pull is going to put North Albion on their heels here. Betty needs a reset, going to go around. Good save there from Coendran. Betty back on this far side. They're trying to move it side to side here, see if they can get some downfield movement as well.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was just about to say Albion's doing what they want to do with fundamentals, but they aren't going forward.
A drop's going to give Coude a chance for the break and win. Lapointe. Foul called there on the mark of Ravi Chandran. See if this will be contested or not. Some discussion to be had, and that's one of the beautiful things about Ultimate. Players will discuss a call, and they can do that with themselves before heading to the observer. We'll see if they decide to do that right now. Glenn Ford right in the middle of all the action there. And what I also like from these discussions, we can see it now, is sometimes the players are reenacting what happened. I always find that very funny because both sides will reenact different things too, right?
For sure, and I don't think that actually changes the outcome for the observer who's watching these reenactments, right? I mean, they know what they saw. I don't think reenactments further the verbal case you're making anyways. Especially we have a pretty veteran observer crew here today. You're not going to pull the wool over their eyes with anything.
Disc coming in on 3, I believe, based on Glenn Ford's hand signal. Lapointe, number 95 in white with the disc. Cutting across the field for the score. That's Austin Sanchez, and Sanchez has been all over, has his fingerprints all over this game, and Coude's going to take it 13-5. What a dominant second half for them, not letting North Albion get on the scoreboard. Their defense playing really well. You got the flags out. Gotta love that East Coast representation. Andrew, I'm going to let you sum up what you saw in this game before we head to our next one between St. John Ravenscourt and the Nepean Knights.
So for me, what I saw was both teams were coming out trading early, but one team handled the adversity and the changes better. Both teams threw a little bit of different looks on defense, and both teams had some change of pace and what have you, but North Albion just couldn't make those adjustments. It didn't seem like they could get that counter punch in, whereas Coude actually kept going, scored with their D-line, changed their defensive a little bit. They pressured the handlers on the other team. They were making the adjustments and reacting better, I think, than North Albion in this particular game. I'll be curious, can North Albion get their heads in a good space and refocus for the next game and not let the second half of this one take them down for the tournament?
It's not just how you finish on the first game, but throughout. So I think that's going to be something they're going to know here. I love the camaraderie we're seeing, the spirit of the game as well, important part of Ultimate. We're going to be half an hour out from our next stream, St. John's Ravenscourt, a perennial contender as well, taking on the Nepean Knights out of Ottawa. St. John Ravenscourt out of Winnipeg. So that's a juicy matchup. Come back in for 12 p.m. local time. That's Eastern time for that. We know some of you might be in a different time zone, so 12 o'clock Eastern.
I'm pretty sure there's a New Brunswick contingent watching right now that are definitely in a different time zone.
That is true. So 12 Eastern, St. John Ravenscourt, Nepean, coming at you then.